Start. Turning to internal resources for the plan, I do not propose here to offer any detailed comments on particular tax measures or on the particular criticisms as those offered by honorable members, but I wish to make it clear that the problems before us is as much of internal resources as of external resources. The only difference between the two is in terms of the degree of freedom of action that we ourselves enjoy in regard to them, because it is possible for us to raise internal resources provided a large measure of public support is coming behind this. It would not be possible even so to raise external resources, and that is the basic distinction between the two types of resources that we need. I have said on a number of occasions that in the present circumstances we shall have to try and reduce deficit financing over the plan period below the original estimate of rupees 1200 crores. That implies much greater effort at economy in regard to expenditure, both developmental and non-developmental, and greater reliance on other sources of finance, viz. Taxation, borrowing, and small savings. The additional taxation measures at the center constitute the greatest prop we have built so far in support of the seventh plan and our developmental effort in general. In the light of the experience, we shall strengthen this prop by administrative and other measures as are required to make it carry the burden of higher and higher levels of developmental outlay. I think, sir, that by taking a large step forward in many directions, we have also created a horizon of reasonably stable expectations with reference to which private industry can make its plans for the future. Sir, it is said the proof of the pudding is in the eating thereof, and only the future will show how far the new orientation that we have given to the tax system will serve the needs of a developing economy. But I submit that the new system deserves a fair trial, as it makes an honest attempt to reconcile many divergent objectives that need to be reconciled in a fast developing economy. I cannot, of course, lay claim to having satisfied all tastes. My friends of the opposition parties, for example, feel so strongly about one point that they had to make their views felt in the other house by a division. While much has been done in the sphere of central taxation, a great deal more needs to be done in regard to mobilizing the savings of the people, small and large, whether for the public sector or the private sector. Honorable members will appreciate that the Large increase in borrowing from the banks by private business indicates that the problem of finding non-inflationary finance for development is not peculiar to the public sector alone. It is often said by critics of the public sector that the public sector is able to fight what might be called great inflationary threat to finance or the money that is created. But today, the position is that much of the improvement that has taken in the private sector and that is taking place today is dependent on bank credit or credit from financial institutions. Therefore, the cry that government are the major contributories in regard to inflation by spending in the public sector would not be correct. But I do not say that itself is wrong because it means some development. It also throws upon the government the responsibility for keeping a more watchful eye on monetary movements than they normally have to do. Therefore, it makes it all the more necessary for us to mobilize the savings of the people, and the problem of internal resources for the plan rests on that at the present juncture. My colleague speaking yesterday spoke about small savings, so that I will content myself with impressing once again on honorable members the organizational and other efforts that we must make to promote savings if internal resources are yet to be avoided from becoming a bottleneck in our plan implementation. While I am still on the subject of internal resources, I would like to refer to one point made by our House's financial expert. He complained about the lack of uniformity in the rate of sales tax in different states and suggested the introduction of a comprehensive bill in Parliament to bring about uniformity. The first point to remember in this context is that taxation of sales or purchases inside a state is a state subject, while that on sales or purchases in the course of interstate trade is a union subject. As regards the state's sales tax, after the coming into force of the Central Sales Tax Act of 1956, certain goods have been declared to be of special importance in interstate trade or commerce, that is cotton, cotton yarn, coal, etc. On these commodities, restrictions have been imposed on the powers of states to levy tax. Full stop. Over.